The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
It's portal season, baby. We're going to talk about some of the targets that the Sooners are going to, that and a few things more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. I am your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Let's go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So we're going to bring in the man himself, man, myth, the legend, my boy Coop. We're going to dive into a few simple things today, like the transfer portal. More transfer portal talk. And we'll probably add a little bit more portal talk. I know that early signing day is in a couple of weeks. Maybe we'll sprinkle some stuff in there from that. And we'll take all of your questions per the norm. So, Coop, happy Sunday, man. How's it going?
Happy Sunday. Yeah, man, starting to feel a little bit better. The COVID pneumonia. I'm on week 6 today. And I feel like I'm on 90%. So I put it in the chat. I am 1,000% locked in to OU, just like you're starting to see a lot of other guys do, which is always good, you know, because it's one of those memes where it says like nobody, and then everybody else 100% locked in. So that's good when you get to see those, especially guys like Stone. So, but I'm excited. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad, like with the Stone piece, I know that he plans on doing like a little special ceremony deal here in the city for his early signing day. I know that he's supposed to be on campus, if I'm correct, the 15th, and, you know, starting to get his workouts in. I know Xavier Robinson is as well. So, yeah, I thought it was interesting that we were seeing all those pop up. Like, it was from multiple position groups, multiple class numbers. So it wasn't one of those situations where I understood why. It was more of a like, why are we doing this? Like what's the point? Typically, when you see stuff like that, that means there's some sort of a transition happening. Usually a position coach is going to be moving on or something like that. And the way that things have looked for us, I haven't seen or heard any word of anybody making any changes. So I'm wondering what that means. Now, one thing I've heard is possibly going after other recruits, leveraging that as a way to, you know, remind people that they're targeting that, hey, I ain't going nowhere. You shouldn't either. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird on all of that. But anyway, good to see everybody in here. Yeah, Coop is 1,000% locked in. He's about 90% physically. So he will be playing in the game tonight, as you all can see. Thank y'all for pulling up. We love seeing y'all. Clyde, I have absolutely no problems with you using your MySpace comments. I probably won't laugh as hard tonight just because unless you throw up a particular name out there. I'm not going to tell you the name, but you can keep guessing and figure that out on your own. So, hey, everybody. Good to see y'all. Good to see Mike. Good to see you, Steven. Good to see you, Topher, as usual. Man, Lone Wolf. Of course, the eyes with the boomer, because yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and so let's dive right into what I know everybody wants to hear about. Let's talk about the 2 players that just came through. Coop, you haven't got a chance to give some commentary on it. We picked up the big offensive tackle Spencer Brown from Michigan State. Then we got the commitment today from Des Malone from San Diego State. Saw somebody jumped in my comments and asked the question of, if he's so great, why is he in the portal? And that always makes me laugh because that tells me that they don't pay attention to what's actually going on. It's just more so spouting out some mess to start a fight. Let me give y'all a quick synopsis of why Des Malone is in the portal. His coach got fired.
Yep.
Pretty simple. A whole new regime is about to pull up at San Diego State, led by Sean Lewis, which he brought in Bill O'Boyle to run the offensive line. And I think he's starting to poach a couple more people from Colorado to join them over there at San Diego State. So there's a whole new regime coming through. We don't know what that's going to look like. So a lot of kids usually go ahead and throw the deuces, especially if they have a year, maybe 2 left to play. They get out because of that. So anyway, Hank, what it do? Good to see you, my man. Coop, talk to me. How you feel about the Spencer Brown pickup? I think that was one of the bigger ones to me. What's your thoughts?
Well, before I get into my thoughts about that, I just want to say what's up to everybody who continues to hop in and follow us. Hank, Topher, Mike, Lloyd. I'm not going to go through everybody because I don't have
We're
that
doing it all
many
day.
brain cells, but if you're watching here, I mean, it means something to us. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So if you're in the portal, there's a lot of reasons, right? So you could be a guy who needs a new change of scenery. Think of like a David Agwebu or a Savion Bird this year. These are good guys that just really need somewhere else. Savion Bird was 100% a deal to where he lost his confidence at one point. And if you are not 100% sure on what you're doing, it's tough. So especially on the offensive line, especially on the interior, because you got to get in a phone book and you got a phone booth and you got to fight. Maybe you have a phone book in the phone booth, but you're in a phone booth and you got to fight. So that leads me into Spencer Brown. So obviously, you guys know what's going on at Michigan State. That regime did a great job recruiting. They've done a really, really good job. I mean, again, what's our number one commit for the longest time? People were like, could he really go to, Michigan State? I mean, they were dropping it. And a lot of these relationships that you see people develop when they're out on the recruiting front. I mean, these things mean a ton. And so Spencer Brown, he is, and we all know how Beat and Bow works. He wants his best five. He wants kind of outside of the center position. He wants the best five guys that work together. So if you can bring a Spencer Brown guy who has had a good amount of playing time, he brings experience. This is Walter Rouse 2.0 type of a situation. You bring him in.
Yep.
We've got a lot of promise on the offensive line. But if you go back and you look through top, 5-star, 4-star offensive linemen, some of these guys don't pan out just because they're 5 stars or 4 stars. And so with the promise that we have in the collection that we have, we just need a little bit extra. You lose Rame to the NFL, and hopefully that guy just can really, really do a good job there. But you lose Rame, you lose Savion. We've got a lot of good guys, available between a Jake Taylor, Jake Sexton, and Everett. He's looking great. Caden Green, it looks like a future Pro Bowler. At the left guard spot. So you've got opportunity to bring in a lot of dudes to come in, because I think that you're going to see, Heath Ozeda probably have some run in the bowl game. But again, you got to do a little bit more than just project. You got to have some tried and true commitments going on. So Spencer Brown's great. I'm excited to see him. The next one, Des Malone. Bro, Des Malone, San Diego State, 6'2", 200 pounds, 2 years of eligibility. We saw Kanai Walker come in and give us some meaningful snaps. We've got a lot of opportunity. I've made the comment on here several times. You can't just be a guy. There's no Jags in the defensive secondary anymore. This all of a sudden went from, can we just get somebody to progress from year one to year two, or just stalemate? Just be as good as you were year one. When you look back and you see a lot of the defensive backs in our history, that was one of the bigger things. Well, Jay Valai he is taking it. Valai is an absolute man. And so, but we saw the injuries kind of put us in some situations. We had Key Lawrence playing corner. We've had a lot of rotation out there. You just need bodies. And so when you go to the SEC, a 6'2", 200-pound defensive back, it is what it is. Like that's some good stuff. So right now we have those two guys in. We've got the kicker out of Hawaii who is starting to look like he might be somebody. Portal transfers, I do not cannot play in the bowl game. Is that right? I'm pretty sure about that.
Correct. Yeah, no, they're not eligible to play in the bowl. They can play in their own bowl, but they can't play in our bowl game. So no. And honestly, you don't want them to play in your bowl game.
No.
That's not what they're here for.
No.
They're not here to play in this bowl game. They're here to play next season. And so the bowl game is a very good opportunity for our young players to play. So real quick, I want to jump on the Spencer Brown real quick before I dive into Malone with you. You made a great point here. Spence Brown is here as this year's version of Walter Rouse, right?
Yeah.
You got a veteran guy. He's going to play right tackle, which is exactly where you want him to play, because as he's still learning, getting the continuity down with our offensive linemen, he'll be Jackson Arnold will be facing his back. So it's someone for him to
Yep.
watch. That was the reason why you had Walter Rouse as a left tackle last year, because Dylan Gabriel was facing him. And you had Tyler Guyton running the back, the blind side. This year, the blind side will be Jacob Sexton, which is what you want because Sexton has built himself
Back to
up.
normal.
He did great against Florida State. He got hurt, came back healthy, starting to get his snaps up, get his rotations in, and guess what? Now you got him doing the you got him with Caden Green right there. So questions really now, who's gonna take that right guard spot? Who's gonna jump up and take that? I mean, you got multiple options with like Keith Zeta, if you go young, Logan Howland. Hell, we may bring in another player, right? There's a list of those. And so sticking to the offensive side, I know there's a few players that we are looking at. Fabici Wawu from North Texas, and what's that? Gino Vandermark from Michigan State. So we're gonna redo it. We're gonna redo this line, which is important for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll say is I saw in the comment Doug says Kanai Walker was terrible. When you are not a starter and you're not getting those starter reps, and you are a guy who's battled a little bit of injuries, you got to have. Right now, we're at a spot to where if you rewind a few years ago to where you have a Justin Broyles playing at safety, and it's just, this is not really position, indicative, but we are at a spot where this roster, we need Billy Bowman, Danny Stutzman, and then 5 or 6 other guys of that same level going forward. And so we're going from looking for somebody to be worthwhile on the defensive side or offensive side, from just position standpoint. You need more than just guys who can, the guys that when they're playing that you're not looking at them going, they don't belong on this field. They don't belong on this field. Like, and I'm sorry, Hank, I did say it. Like, I apologize. I dropped it. I didn't. There's other names we can say that would be worse, but I digress. So we got to get to the spot to where you cannot go in the SEC and have 1 or 2 names on the defensive side. You got to have more names than Jags, and so that's what we're looking for. And with the increasing experience and playtime on on the defensive side for some of these younger kids, you still need more than just a bunch of young guys. This isn't the Oklahoma City Thunder, who is doing this with a second youngest roster in the league. You can't run into the SEC for your first year of the playoff and be running out there with a bunch of freshmen and sophomores, and that's it. You need some experience. You need some leadership. You need somebody who has been there. Yes, we do need Peyton Bowen to take that next step. You do need PJ Adebaware take that next step. You need R. Mason Thomas take that next step. You need Grayson Halton take that next step. But we also need somebody who's been there before. And even though it's Michigan State, it's still the Big Ten. They still play these big games against Michigan, against Penn State, against Wisconsin, against Ohio State. And so that's why we bring these guys in. So when you throw that into your offensive line, what does that say? Sometimes it says, hey, listen, we're going after another guy to throw into the mix. But sometimes it's, hey, we're going after another guy because I'm speaking to somebody potentially on that right side of the line of, hey, it's your time to step up. Otherwise, we're going to bring someone in. Because when it all comes down to it, BV's here to win games. He loves the people, but he's not here if he loves the hell out of people and then everybody walks because we're not winning. So Spencer Brown and these other offensive linemen that are on the docket, we want guys to come in. And with what Beanbog is continuing to do by putting guys in the league, guys are going to want to come here because Walter Rouse is going to go get drafted, probably a little bit higher than if he would have just gone last year or stayed at Stanford. So that's good. Spencer Brown he's a big dude too. So you want to have more of those guys. Savion was really struggling to stay at that 300 pound area, and on top of that with the confidence. We've got bodies in there, but I think that this incoming offensive line crop, these guys need to have some time in the system, some time with Schmitty, some time to get bigger. So this is why Spencer Brown is good.
Yeah, and some of the people asking the questions of who are we going after next? And so, like, hey Lloyd, what's going on? Yep, it looks like Conyers decided that Tech is the home for him. Most likely, I know that we had a conversation with them and Price didn't work out in the direction that we wanted. He decided not to come back. So he's going to Tech. He went to Tech this past weekend and it happens. I know that we'll have a few players coming through over the weekend. Next weekend, we'll have Andrew Mubuka and we'll have a Holden Stays, tight end that I know that we're going
Holden
after.
Stays out of Notre Dame.
Yep, out of Notre Dame. He'll be in town. And I saw somebody make a comment that I didn't get a chance to hit that button on, but it was asking about the pink elephant in the room, which is kicker. We've got some kickers coming in. That's not something of concern. There it is from Buddy. Yeah, we've got a kicker coming. Like I've watched Liam kick some 60 footers, right?
Yeah. He's a dude.
So he's good. He's good. I think he's a 5-star on the Coles rating for kickers, which is separate than the rest of the rating system. Mm-hmm. We're fine. We've got I think we've got 2 guys coming in. So that's something I'm not too concerned about next season. They're working on that right now. And there was another good question in here I saw not too long ago. Zach was asking about linebacker in the portal. Yes, we've been shopping linebackers like crazy. We've had conversations with some linebackers. So I'll jump into that in just a minute, but let's talk about kind of the impact of having a Des Malone, which Des Malone to me, I mean, I dropped a video earlier on it, but the bigger thing with that is you said it right, Coop, 6'2", 200 pounds. And when I watched his film and looked at the numbers that he produced playing at San Diego State, he looks like a guy that you can basically put on an island. He understands how to play in a zone. He understands how to cover a guy where he's supposed to be. And he does a great job. I mean, he only allowed 48% completion percentage playing out there at the corner spot. I think he was graded like a 71 from Pro Football Focus, which is pretty solid. It's a solid position to have. That means that he only do everything, right? Now, he's not a guy that's going to be just complete lockdown by himself, but he does a really good job. More so because teams weren't throwing at him. And the thing is, he comes here, when we go in the SEC, teams will challenge him. They're going to challenge him more than they're going to challenge Gentry because they've seen what Gentry can do. Gentry was the guy that everybody challenged this season because they didn't want to deal with Woody. You challenge Gentry, and Gentry finished the season with a few interceptions. And so it's like, oh, okay, I can't really throw him. Let's try Woody again. And then Woody started to do some stuff. So secondary-wise, I'm not concerned. So Woody out, you got Gentry. You'll have Dez to give you that veteran presence with Kanai, which Kanai does well in zones. You just got to make sure he falls back further, giving a little space. Mm-hmm. But you'll still have Josiah. You're going to have Josiah Wagner. You still got Jacoby Johnson. You still got Makari Vickers. You still got Jaden Rowe, who, if he comes off surgery and looks good, he's another 6'2" corner. So you've got him. I think he's like 222. He's a big boy. So, and he's fast. He's a track guy as well. So you got the players you need. We've got some solid. You just got to have that additional because our biggest problem in the secondary has been health. We ain't been healthy. We weren't healthy all season. Gentry was in and out. Josiah was in and out. Makari got hurt at the end of the season. So you got to make sure you have the bodies to be prepared for what's coming for when you head into the SEC. You're gonna need those bodies going to be tackling dudes. But then you go from there into portal wise itself. What's going on in the portal? Who we targeting and all of that. The list is long, right? And yeah, could Jacoby play linebacker? Yeah, he probably could put on another 15, 20 pounds and play linebacker. I don't think they want him to, though. I think he's better as a corner. But we also got Kendall Doby. That's another one that we've seen out there play corner. But he's even better as a cheetah, it seems like. We've got the size and the bodies to do it. It's just we're gonna be working our people in like crazy. And so offensive line wise, we're still I think the line will be fine. I think if there's any position I'm not concerned about that I know is going to be a big refresh is the line. Because when you have Caden Green and Sexton together on one side, Troy Everett and Joshua Bates battling for the center spot, and then guard is kind of up in the air. Is really the one up in the air with Spencer Brown on the right. If you really think about it, Coop, the line is gonna be pretty solid overall.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to see Everett slated at center, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
expect anybody else? I mean, Bates is going to have the opportunity. Bates was the number one center, I believe, coming out of high school. But when it comes to offensive line, why some of these evaluations are always tough is because of the fact that these guys are playing against maybe a serviceable defensive lineman every once in a while. So they're the biggest guys on the field. There's not a lot of scheming. You get to line up the guy across from you and go blow him out. You can be a good high school offensive lineman with horrible technique, horrible feet, bad hips, all this stuff. And then they come here, and then the guy that's lining up across from them, whether it's Kent State or Tulsa, those guys were the one defensive lineman that they faced, but there's one of those guys next to him, one of those guys next to him, one of the guys next to him. And then you add in all of the blocking techniques, and that gets difficult. So if you run in Everett or Bates at center, guessing that I'll at home outside of injuries at that left guard spot, I got to think that you probably see Sexton at the left tackle. Again, so here we go with that right guard spot. What does that right guard spot look like? Is it one of the guys that's been on campus here for this past year? Is it somebody that we're still pursuing in the transfer portal? And I saw the comment. We are going slow in the portal for a or knocking out hundreds of offers. We are not doing that. Why? Well, because there's still a lot of speculation, word around it, that we're going to be looking at trying to really get get some of these guys who have not declared yet. So if you go out and you offer some guys right now, all of a sudden you get commitments, and then now you lose out on bigger guys. So you saw McClellan be a spot that when he finally declared, they offered. I think with McClellan, it's more of a situation of, he's an Oklahoma guy. I'd like to have him come back. I think that you see him as a Jordan Kelly a little bit better, or like maybe an Isaiah Coe. He's not going to be Aaron Donald. He's not going to be a killer. He's not going to. I really don't think, unless he gets in here and he works with Bates and he all of a sudden takes 2 or 3 steps up. But you need more of those guys too, because he did play at Florida, he did play in the SEC, and he did do those things. So don't worry about the slow play, because there is a reason. Fiddles
we're
has
looking
been
at
doing this.
Yeah, we're looking at big fish, like you said. You made the perfect point. We're looking at big fish. So
yeah, and it says there's 1,200 players in the portal. I think it's closer to 3,000 total players in the portal across college football, which is nuts, because a lot of those guys ain't going to find homes, and if they do, they're sliding. So we're not going to wait on a guy and he's going to commit to Texas State instead of Oklahoma. That's not going to be the case. If somebody wants to make a bounce and get their spot, it looks like it's probably going to be, them going to an Arizona State or somewhere with one of these new coaching staffs, or Colorado or something. Because if you Deion's landed a ton of guys on offensive line, but let's pump the brakes on that a little bit, because sometimes there is reasons why they're leaving. It's because they can't get on the field, and they may have been highly recruited. I promise you, Deion will take the chance of them, because his goal next year is a bowl. Whereas, let's see, 3,800 plus as of this morning. Stephen, thank you. Let's continue to go this way. Trust in them. We've got visits starting to be lined up. Let's see here. We had the legendary Joyce guy. Is his Twitter handle, but he is out of Utah. He was offered as a PWO. Kicker Matthew Shipley out of Hawaii. We got this weekend, we've got Deion Burks coming in. They're doing stuff, but don't be too freaked out if we're not jumping at. A lot of the guys who are, quote, big name guys and they've already committed somewhere, there's a reason why. And just trust this coaching staff.
Yeah, and just to keep reiterating that we've got a lot of players that we are going after, and Coop's right. In
Hmm.
some situations, some players are in the portal because they don't have an opportunity to play. Which I'm not gonna pump the brakes in Colorado. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Phil Lodeholt is over there as the new offensive line coach, so I'm gonna be gassing him up like crazy. Sooner, All Pro NFL player. We need him to gain a whole bunch of experience. And, when Beaton Bowe decides to retire, there you go. You go bring him back home, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully he's
And
successful. I need him to be super successful so that we can go snatch his butt back and bring him back to the crib. We like having our family, which I appreciate the fact that he was here for the last 2 years as an analyst, because you can't teach 6'8", can't teach
no,
300 pounds,
nope.
man. And when you have that, they're teaching you as an offensive lineman. A lot of them look at that like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about, because not only does he know what he's talking about, but he's my size, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it for Tyler Guyton. He's 6'7", 320, 330, and you got a dude like Lodeholt standing next to you saying, "Look, I was with the Vikings. I was an All Pro, a few times." You just look at me like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can't question this mammoth of a human being. He's actually at my eye level, if not taller than me." So
Yeah.
how do I fight back from that thought process? So no, we've got a lot of our goal is to get, I think, 10. So a few people may be asking how many we're going for. So Sooner Cowboys, right? We're looking at 8 to 10, and that's what BV mentioned before. He said that we're going to have 27 signees is the plan, with 10 more, so about 37 kids will be coming through, and I'm here for it. I'm 100%
Hmm.
here for it. So, yeah. And so to answer this question, Lloyd, yes, we're going after Rocket Sanders. I know that we offered him. I don't know if a visit's been set up yet or if he's already visited, but we are going after him. We're going after a lot of people. And as mentioned, Steven mentioned this. I put it up a minute ago. There's 3,800 plus kids in there. You got to filter through all of that and figure out the ones that make sense. Just like Coop said, we don't want to take too many Jags. We want to take some dudes, or those that, I say Jag pluses are probably what we want, guys that we think that we could train up into it. Like, I trusted at the wide
Yeah.
receiver spot, and I trusted at linebacker, mainly because of the coaching staff. Emmett Jones has shown us that you let that man do what he do best. Same
Yep.
thing with Venables and Roof at linebacker. They're known for getting some good linebackers and training them up. We got a lot of young players on both sides of the ball. We have just about fully refreshed this roster from the
Yeah.
old regime. So, like, to me, you see all the young players, and of course, I'm excited about the young players playing, but in a lot of situations, young players just ain't ready. So we're going after a running back. We're gonna go after which Makuba coming to visit is huge, because that kind of goes. Let's talk about this real quick. This goes against. It doesn't go against, but it's a little bit off the beaten path of what Venables was doing when he came in. Like, he wouldn't go seek a Clemson player if they hit the portal, or he wouldn't seek a Clemson player if they hit the portal. I think Mabuka's a situation where he reached out and said, "Hey, I'm coming to visit. Just get the car ready. I'm coming to visit." And Venables was probably like, "Oh, blah, no. I'm coming. Okay? I'll see you next weekend. Let me call Coach Hall. Coach Hall's the safety guy, right? Let me call him." But Venables, I want to let you know, I'm coming to visit.
Yep.
You probably had to be like, "All right, man."
And he's a stud. And that doesn't say anything. That doesn't say anything about Billy Bowman. That doesn't say anything about Peyton Bowen. That doesn't say anything about Robert Spears Jennings. When a guy like that wants to come to your program, you'll find a way, because that cheetah position. I mean, God bless Justin Harrington. If you guys didn't check out our live with Harrington here this past week, but you want that talent in there, because I'd like to see Peyton Bowen get something there. On the cheetah side, I'd like to see him. Brent Venables is okay with playing three safeties out there, especially when you guys like Mabuka and Bowen. Those guys are Swiss Army knives. They are multi-tools. They can do so many different things, and you're one tackle away from bringing in somebody that you don't have experience with. So I love Jaden Rowe. You heard Justin Harrington. He's one of the fastest guys on the team. He's 6'2" and change. He's 215 and change. And then you've got other guys who are coming up too. So let's just let's get guys like that. They're going to come. Rocket Sanders wants to come in. That's absolutely fine, because having X and Tatum come in, I'd like to see them start working with X right away and turn him into that H-back fullback thing early, because number one, it's going to teach him more about the offense. If you talk to any of these fullbacks that have been in the system, those guys, finishing it with Braden Willis, going back to JD Runnels, guys like that, like, you want guys who are going to be able to get out there and catch passes and go over the middle, but also come in and just block somebody and level their butt. So, it's a really cool opportunity. And I will say this is, we are at a spot right now too, to where there is a fine line on how you do this, because you don't want ever it to be turned around and used. Like, you can go to Oklahoma, but when that transfer portal opens up, they'll put someone right in front of you. Those type of conversations get had, especially when you're recruiting folks for the 24 class. Once you get those guys here, in just a few days, they're all going to be signed. They're all going to be in all the All-American games. We're going to be gravy, baby. It's going to be good because you got them ready to rock. But you still don't want to bring guys in and keep a young cat off the field, when they can come in and contribute. So, you're not going to go after some of these bigger names when you feel something good about that. And I'll say this, I'm going to address Ollie Gordon. I want nothing to do with Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon is great. But Ollie Gordon, we all watched him. We all watched Ollie Gordon. And I feel like there's a little bit of an attitude and there's a little bit of a hurt feeling situation. And I just want a running back like P. Ryan. I want Samaje P. Ryan type of backs who are going to come in and do their work and go to town. Sawchuck's probably RB1, day one. That's not going to change. But who's going to come in behind him? Who's going to step up and really bring it? Hopefully Javante Barnes has himself a little renaissance this year. But yeah, making X, H-back, fullback guy, because it's not a situation to where, who is was it Mikey Henderson? We went up to Iowa State one game and he had to start. Here we go. And listen, if you're going to miss Tawee, put X in there. Now you got a bigger, more skilled Tawee. And Tawee had zero playing experience, so I think that's why that's not a big deal about him heading off, is because we've got X coming in.
Yeah, and so I'd like someone to go ahead and show me where he's in the portal, because I've looked everywhere. Hayes hasn't put anything out there that he's in the portal. He's not in the portal. So we don't talk. I don't. If you've not noticed something,
that's
about
OU
me,
fans.
I don't. Yeah. If you have noticed something about me, I don't talk about players that's not in the portal. They ain't in the portal. I don't have a reason to talk about them. I don't want to waste anybody's breath because we don't know. Got a super chat here. Stink, thank you so much for the $10. We, of course, greatly appreciate it. Born in McCullum. You mean McCullough? I got you. Going to be beast next year. Yes. We got Day McCullough, which I like Day. Day's a nice size dude, too. He's like 6'1" at the safety spot. But you're going to have Peyton Bowen with Billy Bowman next year. So you're going to the Killer Bees are going to be up there, which I'm excited about. Killer Bees balling out. But yeah, I'm not concerned about the youth in the way that our secondaries played. With and Mike, I watched a lot of Xavier Robinson. X-Rob was out there doing what it do. He was out there. He was balling. And I was watching him at the title game. And I posted some stuff on my X account. It was good to watch that dude. He's going to be good. He's supposed. When I talked to him, he said that he's pulling up the 15th. He's going to start the workout regimen. I think he's actually going to be working out with the team, with the bowl team, with the team. He's going to be one of the early enrollees who's going to work out everybody. Same thing with Stoney. So I expect Stone to be training with the team as they prep for the Alamo Bowl also. So we're going to get a lot of young dudes that's going to get to actually hang out and prep for the bowl game and know what it's feel like to be in that environment. And then they'll be prepared to ball out. So it's going to be nice. And so Coop, but I agree with you too, Coop, that, and Topher mentioned Pooh Paul, who we was looking at, he's already committed to Ole Miss. We've got a couple other linebackers I know that I've seen. I think we gave offers to, and they tweeted out that we did offers. I'm trying to remember who else was it. I think the Texas A&M dude we're going after at linebacker. Was it York? Is that his last name? I think that's his
There.
last name. I can't remember. I look him up, but I know there's a few linebackers that we are evaluating. Let's just put it that way. But we've got a good linebacker room, right? You've got Kip, Kobe, you got Kanik, so you got the 3Ks there. You got
The missile.
Omasigo. Who?
You got Crimson Missile, Lou Baker.
Yeah, oh yeah. You got Lewis Carter. You got Big
Oh,
Carter coming in there.
Lewis Carter, not Baker.
Yeah, Lewis Carter, who he's he's gonna be nasty, strong. He can hit. We got a list of them that we're gonna be going after. But the thing is, just like Coop said, we're looking for specific ones to play in our system that aren't going to be. We don't want Jags, right? So
Yeah.
just because you think it sounds cool that he's in the portal, there's probably a reason why the team didn't go after it. There's probably a reason why we're just waiting to see who BV and them are evaluating and who they actually want. Because we're going to need somebody to contribute. That hole that Stutzman left is huge. And so the question's going to be which one of these players can come in and at least give our main guys a good rest and then not be a drop off in talent, right? I mean, I've seen Georgia lost a few different players, and hey, man, not all of them Georgia players are dudes. A lot of them are Jags. It's the reason why they're probably leaving Georgia and they want an opportunity to play somewhere. And we may not be it. Keep that in mind as well.
And don't forget
Man,
also Phil Pachotti tore his ACL early in the season, and so he is doing rehab too, and he's going to be a stud also. So we've got the linebacker spot. We've got a lot of young talent, and the coaching staff knows what's going on. I mean, that's Brent Venable's position. So if there is a need, he's going to go after somebody. If nobody in the portal can fit the need, appropriately. So if somebody wants a nice little $800,000 bag to come down here, that ain't going to happen, guys. This is just not going to. It's not going to do that because you're not going to pay somebody. If they are a stud and they're going to come in and step up over all this young talent, you got to question why are they in the portal? And outside of coaching changes, and you don't want to take that shot. We've got it. Everybody wanted to see more Kip Lewis. Everybody wanted to see more Kobe McKenzie. Guess what? We're going to get Kip. We're going to get Kobe. We're going to get Kanik. Carter. These guys are all in there. There's guys that are on this team ready for their opportunity who are absolutely just studs. And you want to take a shot at it. And then also, that's a reason why a lot of the people don't want to come here. They see what's on, when they think about reaching out to Oklahoma, they're going to look at the room and they're going to see what is there. And if you take a look and you see 30 people, on average early in the season getting, on the defensive play sheet, the box score, you're going to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. Because I think that Venables is going to be pretty honest with people. We've got X, Y, and Z. You can come in here and compete. He's not going to drop you're going to come in here and, you could probably start from day one. No, you're going to come in and compete. And we saw what happened with year one in the defensive system for our guys right now. So if you bring a portal guy in, they don't have any years in this system, so they're going to have to come in and learn. And it's tough. So I bet next year, I'll call it, at this time next year, Oklahoma fans, the casuals, are going to be a little nervous because there's going to be some names that hop out because the more and more talent you start stockpiling, that means you're pushing other talent out. Whereas the past 2 years, we were pushing Jags out and not even Jags. We were pushing out guys who just, we got more competitive depth nowadays. Jay, you just took a drink, so you're free. I'll take one now.
And Trevor Etienne is definitely one that I know that we're looking at. I mean, you gotta remember his brother Travis played at Clemson under BV, and if I'm correct, Venables was part of the Trevor Etienne recruitment because of Clemson and the relationship he has. So I anticipate that we will be going after him. I don't know about us winning. I think Georgia is the leader right now, is what the assumption is, but we don't know. I mean, I'll say that because you really don't know until the player actually makes that decision. And everybody's in their ear. Money's being thrown around. Some of these players are going because they want something, like Coop said, different. Some people are going for money. I mean, honestly, that's probably why you don't see us really playing the game with some of the A&M defensive linemen.
Yeah.
Most of them are just money grabs. And to be honest, the big problem with that is with them is go look at the production. You didn't see a lot of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't super productive. They just was they were getting their money. And so we're not chasing after that. We're chasing after players that we can get that can compete for us today and be contributors to what we're trying to get done. So I'm not stressed out about it. I know that we've got a lot of other players that we're looking at. Deion Burks is going to be here next week, wide receiver out of Purdue. He had some solid numbers when I looked at him. I think he had like 600 and something yards, 700 yards receiving or 600 yards receiving last season. Let me pull up his number real quick but yeah, he was 47 catches, 625 and 7 touchdowns. Not bad at 13 yards per catch. My guy, Stats by Popo in the Discord, shout out to him. He always throws the numbers at me, finds them off PFF. We're both nerd out like that. But his contested catch ratio wasn't the greatest. But he may be an additional depth guy. Now, the wide receiver room is probably the room that I know that we were the most stressed about coming into this season. And now we're just like, oh, okay, we pretty darn good here. So adding a player like Burks really just make sure that the room is solid for the year, right? Make sure that we don't have injuries that will derail us. Because I don't even know if anybody's even leaving from the wide receiver room to the portal. It don't look like it.
As of
right
now, I mean, you got to think Hester and Bunkley Shelton are guys that are, they're still sticking around. So there's nothing happening right there. But yeah, I mean, you come in, you heard Harrington say Jay Gibb is probably a guy that he wanted to see more out of, and he's going to be a baller. We still get Andrew Anthony. He's going to be ready to roll for spring practice. And so, yeah, I mean, you're starting receivers. Farouk. Earlier, I saw Farouk. Farouk's coming back. I mean, the only thing that he would leave for is if he gets some kind of big deal to go back home or something like that. But if I were a very, very smart wide receiver coach, and my ideas were maybe I don't know, Emma Jones. I'd look at putting Farouk in the slot. If you put Farouk in the slot and get him, if you put him in the slot and let him do some of that stuff that Drake was doing, you run out there Nick Anderson, Jaden Gibson, Andrew Anthony, and Farouk. How's that sound, kids? Because there's not in there, and then you bring in cats like Zion Kearney, who is 6'2", 200. He looks like an absolute freak in nature. So he'll be able to come in. Devon Mitchell is going to be coming in, as our tight end. You still have Ivan Carrion coming in, 6'6", 200 pounds. Zion Reagans, 5'7". He is going to be our next burner. And, and then on top of that, you've got still some guys who are wanting to come out here. We haven't even dropped Petaway's name, because I promise you he's going to want to be in there. And then KJ Daniels wrapping it out. There's a lot of talent that's going to be coming in, and there's only so many balls to go around. And so that's why when you look at guys like Zach just mentioned, Jaron Brandley out of Texas Tech, if he wants to come, bring the noise. Like that's all. What's he, 6'5", 6'6"? We saw what he can do. He's got experience with Emma Jones. You can bring them back in there. But yeah, it's we've got some skill going on out there, and you'll get a chance. I'm gonna have to try to get the list, and Jay, we'll maybe have to. I don't know. We'll do a video about the All-American games, but there's a lot of these kids that are going to be in the All-American games, and expect to watch them ball out, because that some of these cats are really, really good.
Yep, January's gonna be fun. January's gonna be a good time with watching a lot of the recruits that we have playing in the All-American game, and then coming in early enrollees, because the list of early enrollees is long. I think vast majority of this class will be early enrollees, in which that's also something I like to make mention of as well. Unless they're a two-sport athlete, that is something that Venables and them go after, right? They go after guys that's going to enroll early. And they do that because if you get those guys to come in early, guess what happens? They can get that extra training in, and boom, you got a good chance of going out there and actually being prepared to play early if needed. So those extra months, huge. Get them out there in the spring game, yeah, huge. So that's something else we also do when it comes to recruiting. So if you notice that we don't go after everybody, that's also the other reason too. We want guys to early enroll and train the entire springtime. But wide receiver room, dog, you hit the nail on the head with Farouk. That was the one thing I was thinking. You put Nick out there with Andrell Anthony if he's back healthy. If not, you're probably going to play Brendan Thompson out there. You keep Nick and Jaden Gibson lined up together on one side.
Yep.
Brendan Thompson, Andrell Anthony on the other. You put Farouk at the slot. And then if you go in the way that Seth's system's set up, he'll go for a wide. You bring in a fourth wide. You can throw Petaway out there. You let the young burner go out there and run. Have Petaway and Brendan out there together. Oh, God. Oh, just nasty. At that point, Jackson Arnold needs to just basically get back, wind up, and just launch it to one of the two, because the safeties are going to have to pick which one they want to go after. And if you have a safety think that they're going to keep up with either Petaway or Brendan Thompson,
there's
they
no
lost
chance.
their dang minds.
No chance.
Right?
No.
And let
this
catch all the middle all game long.
Yeah. And what happens if we have a tight end who can stay in the block and then just eke out? So you got Farouk Dragon, a linebacker or a safety. You've got a go ball with Petaway or Brendan Thompson. You've got a post pattern with the one that's not running the go. There's all kinds of space to be had. And I believe so. The early enrollees, let's see here. Josh Iasosa, Akin Kunmi, coming in across the pond, Isaiah Autry, Michael Boganowski, Eli Bowen, BJ Brooks, Ivan Carrion, Wyatt Gilmore, Jalen Hardy, Michael Hawkins, Jaden Jackson, Zion Kearney, Devon Mitchell, James Nesta, Okoye, Reggie Power, Xavier Robinson, Nigel Smith, David Stone, Brendan Zerberg, all coming in early. So the June enrollees, KJ Daniels, and I believe he's baseball and football, so there's that reason. That Devon Jordan out of Union. I don't know off the top of my head with him. I'll have to peek in on that one. Jeremiah Newcomb.
Yep. Devon Mitchell will be early enrollee. He's already said it. He said 10 days left before he comes to campus. He's been tweeting on that like crazy.
Oh, no. I was talking about Devon Jordan.
Oh, Jordan. No, Jordan's not early enrollee. He will be summer.
Yeah.
Jordan's a summer guy.
Jeremiah Newcomb, Michael Patterson McDonald, Zion Raggins, and then Taylor Tatum are all going to be June enrollees. So that's going to be the tough one right there, I think, is Taylor Tatum, with him coming in June because of baseball. Hopefully, I'm okay with him taking a little bit less banging around. In the spring, that's fine. That room is going to be pretty stacked. And then, any of these guys got injuries like Andy Bass. Andy Bass is going to be coming in here in about a week and a half. And I like it because he's going to be able to start rehabbing with OU staff instead of, the 3A school, 4A school that he's at right now. So that would be that'd be great. As far as Andrell Anthony in the slot,
this is kind of funny. Sooner Cowboy, hope OU's offense still looks like Texas next year. Look like why would we want to do that? I mean, our offense was better than Texas. Why would we want to regress?
Yeah,
anyway.
it's the Texas offense. You got to remember, they're a bad spot away from losing to Houston. So I mean, they had a couple of other games, the BYU game, the Rice game, all those games. They were supposed to be world beaters on offense. They weren't. And I don't care about Brooks getting hurt because they weren't world beaters when that was going on. So if you were looking at this roster next year and you're going, is this going to be a better roster? It's going to be a better roster next year. And then guess what? The following year, we're going to have a better roster. And then the following year, we're going to have a better roster. That's how this is going.
Yeah, no, and I get you on that. I mean, Kansas State, didn't they almost lose to Kansas State? Wasn't it like 27-24 or something like that. Kind of crazy in the Kansas State game. Wasn't that game close? I could have sworn
Yeah,
it
the
was. Let me go pull it up
Oklahoma
really
State
quick.
game. Oklahoma State.
Now the conference championship game. I mean, we
Yeah.
would have probably beat Oklahoma State like that in a neutral site if we just would have played better on that part. It's 33-30. So they barely beat Kansas State. Kansas. So they played Kansas. Yeah, they beat up Kansas at the crib.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta remember too. We didn't lose games at home. We were undefeated at the house. They blew out Kansas at the crib, at their house. Kansas came to our house. We blew them out too. We lost on the road, both games combined by 8 points, and that was all play calling, 100%. If we would have ran the plays we were supposed to, she ain't got nothing to do with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's all right.
So yeah, Sooner Cowboy, Kansas. I got you. It's Kansas.
I still like our offense better than Texas.
100%.
I still like our offense better than Texas.
When we ran our plays, we were great. I mean, go look at the numbers. Go look at the games where we out here just dominating teams. When we just ran the plays and said, "Here, Dylan, go have fun." Guess what? We did good. You don't let, and not to rehash this wound, picking at this Band-Aid real quick. You don't let Bean throw the ball almost twice as much as your Heisman contending quarterback. You don't do that. That's all of us. That's all on the offensive staff. And granted, the good thing is twofold with the change. One, shout out to Levy, got the job at Mississippi State. He's going to be fine. Just saw that he got him a quarterback. Van Buren might see a lot of PT early. We were trying to get Van Buren here to Oklahoma. He was interested in playing for Levy, but the problem was he didn't want to play in the 2-quarterback deal. He didn't want to compete with Hawkins. And Hawkins looked good down there at Frisco Emerson this year. Good God, he looked good. Keep that in mind. But we bringing in Luttrell, who's been a head coach and who's been an OC for some good quarter. Hell, one of his quarterbacks won a Super Bowl, right? Nick Foles. I mean, we can make jokes about Nick, but Nick showed up in those playoffs for the Eagles, which is a good thing for him. But he's coached some guys to, he knows how to manage the offense. And so I sense that Venables has no problem with him being a CEO of the offense because he'll run it like he ran it when he was a head coach, right? Yeah. And so Venables can focus on the defensive side. Luttrell can focus on the offensive side. We can actually call plays and be aggressive, which Luttrell is an aggressive coach. I mean, his quarterback, Mason Fine, was a 2-time conference player of the year. So that tells you everything about how he wants to do it. He out there, he going to be aggressive. And so, Sooner Cowboy, your point, we need aggression. We need aggression. And it's been weird playing against Kansas teams, period. K-State and Kansas is weird. And it's because Kansas has gotten better. When Kansas is good with Lance Leipold as well as anybody at Kansas State, seems to be they're actually good in that state, especially prepared for us. I mean, Venables is from Kansas, from the state of Kansas, played at Kansas State. So it's just that weird juju that populates. But don't worry, the play calling is going to be good. Play calling is going to be good. So I'm not too concerned about that. Luttrell will air it out. That is the one thing that you're going to notice. You'll see some jet sweeps. I know we're going to make jokes about it. You'll see some jet sweeps, but not like that, right? More gap schemes. You're going to see a lot of good runs up the gap. They're going to be running people throw. Toughness is what you'll see out of Luttrell, which I am so excited about for this team because we need to go out there and just start beating the crap out of people. Get back to that. And that is going to be the difference maker. And so the bowl game will be a slight sample of what the play calling is going to look like. Very slight. I expect Luttrell to add more wrinkles of himself into it. We'll see that coming into next season. So you'll see light versions of him in the bowl game. And then next season, you'll probably see a lot more aggression out of him. But hell, he's been working for Jackson Arnold this entire time. I expect him to be prepared. Similar calls, similar verbiage. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, trying to think outside of that, Coop, what else are we looking like? We look at the questions. What other questions y'all got around transfer players? Any particular players y'all looking at? Any particular players you got questions about? I mean, we talked about ETN. We talked about Rocket Sanders, the running backs. We missed out on a linebacker, but we've got other linebackers in the chamber that I know that we're going after. Not sure who we've offered. It's hard to find that because there's so many players.
If you guys aren't aware, so I know that a good Twitter follow is Stoops Bros on Twitter. Stoops Bros does just an absolute phenomenal job on Sooner Scoop, keeping everything kind of organized, and it's pretty cool. It is really, really cool to see what he has going on there, just because you get a chance to see all this stuff. But I mean, with 3,800 people in the portal, there's a good amount of talent out there, and there's a good amount of chaff, stuff that just needs to blow off in the wind. So we're going to be doing that. But if you are looking for somewhere to follow all of this insanity, I believe the transfer portal thread on Soonerscoop.com this is the third year of it. And I want to say it's over 1,000 pages already. It's just nuts. You can go in there and find all that information. Let's see here. Oh, it looks like we are 256 pages currently, and the first page has the document in there. So go in and check that out. But yeah, a lot of stuff. The Thor at Harvard, I think that he just committed to
Louisville.
Yeah. So
Louisville got him.
That was something, and I think that we were interested in him, but we're waiting on announcements.
Yep, I put it to you like this. And not to be too cocky about this, but I'm gonna be honest with all of y'all on here.
Jack,
if we decide to pursue him, if we give him an offer, I think he flips. I think Walter Rouse did with Nebraska to us. We probably would. We'll do after that. So yeah, we may go ahead and just hit that bad boy, right? Just keep that in mind. He really likes Oklahoma, and I've heard very good things about his like for Oklahoma. Someone asked about the defensive lineman at Florida. You're talking about Princely and Chris McClellan, the Tulsa boy, North Tulsa. He has North Tulsa on his page, which I think is pretty dope. Coming from North Tulsa, totally get the love for that. His brother plays at Booker T as well, if I'm correct. So I know that we're talking to both. We've hit that. I know that they've done tweeted out they offered. So my anticipation is that we'll have a conversation
here, and I'll address this one time, and you can rewind it. Well, I don't know, what are we 57 minutes in? DJ Hicks is going to be a situation to where it is going to be after the bowl game. And if you're not reading between the lines, I'll just say that there is the word around some of the A&M situations is let's wait till after the bowl game. I believe that the conversations with the Hicks family has been happening with a lot of different coaching staffs. And if you had to ask me today, bet $100, does he come to OU or not? I take that bet. I do take that bet. I think that if he comes, if he leaves A&M, I think he comes here. I don't see that going really anywhere else. But he has to declare, because you got to apply for the job if you want to get the interview. And so he has to declare. But if you think that there's not coaching staffs having conversations, we saw on Twitter earlier this week, there was a lot of stuff out there about Bates being down in the Houston area, going and see DeJohn Petaway, and then showed a picture with him and his oh goodness gracious, DJ's dad. An hour later, another coaching staff was there too. That's happening. So just kick back, relax. This is going to be fun. If Hicks does hit the portal and comes here, I think that there's going to be a lot of conversations around, listen, man, we gave you the full court press, and we are absolutely in love with the fact of you being here. But if you want a bag, you're going to have to wait, because we're not going to do this again.
Right. And no, and somebody asked about that. We haven't got a tight end yet, Brian. We're working on it. I know that is the conversation. That is we're going after most of the players that y'all are mentioning. We're going after, or I don't. The question is how much tampering is actually going on. I don't think we're really doing much tampering at all, but we're going after a lot of the players y'all want. And as Coop mentioned with the Hicks situation, he ain't in the portal yet, so I can't talk about him personally. Coop feels confident. My confidence rises if he ever actually physically goes in the portal. I've heard this last year when everything was going on. Until I see a physical entry, I'm at 0%. Chance of him going to the portal, I'd say 50-50 because E-Rob's gone, and I'm seeing a lot of those dudes follow him to Syracuse. There's some dudes on the team at A&M trending towards Syracuse. There's recruits flipping towards Syracuse, which was very fascinating to me. Would not have expected it. So for me, I think he does at the portal. I just don't know when he actually, when it actually goes down. Yeah, Coop said your mic is acting weird. I couldn't tell.
Sorry, I opened up an ESPN deal and it was playing an ad on the window, so I think that was probably the situation. But what I was looking at, Jay, is one of the situations we saw in the chat. Let's give our boys on the basketball court some love, Jay. If you got a few seconds,
let's go. Let's wrap it up with that. Let's talk a little hoops.
If you have not been paying attention to Porter Moser's past 2 years, good. That's probably best. You probably are a better human being because of it.
Thank you.
Because we did not have what's the word I'm looking for? Athletes were few and far between, but we got some dudes. It was not only the transfer portal because Porter Moser had to redo the roster completely for the third year in a row. Now, instead of having unathletic white dudes who were really, really good in lower tier Power 5 conference, we now have athletes. And shout out to the brothers because you know what?
I'm done. I'm done.
Owe, Uzon, Javion McCollum, guys, there are so many freaking cool things going on in the basketball court. And it's, we talked about it earlier this season when we had every single coach going up against our defense and, Tanner Groves. It was Tanner Groves that I'm talking about. I was going to not forget you dropped his name, so I'll say it out loud. But we now have we have a group that is just balling right now. And if you have not taken a minute to go out and check out Javion McCollum, he is
oh my
awesome.
God. Jay McCollum is super good.
On top of it, a good one. Godwin is balling out. This team is fun. Yeah, the fun is having Suarez coming off the bench, Darthard coming off the bench. Big man Hughley, that guy's fun to watch. He just is a baller. So they are undefeated. Currently ranked number 10. I think that their net rating is in the 15 area. And this is, we were picked
Monday.
Yeah, we'll go up next week. Now, the schedule before we hit conference play, and we've seen a lot of this all the time, but the schedule for conference play, it's not Arkansas Pine Bluff all the time or UT Rio Grande. We beat a very, very good Providence team earlier this week. Arkansas here in Tulsa the other day. We got Green Bay 12-16, so that is Friday or Saturday. And then we got North Carolina, which is a top 10 team. Central Arkansas, Monmouth, and then we hitting into the new Big 12 hoop slate. So if you are around and you can make a game, do it. And next year in Tulsa, folks, I was unable to do it. We had lots of family stuff going on, but next year, let's get some folks here because it was a very, very pro Arkansas crowd. They got to see their coach throw a temper tantrum and get tossed out. This is a fun team, Jay. What's your kind of favorite thing about watching this team so far?
Javion McCollum out there just balling, dog. I like the way that he can go in the ISO and just cook. And yeah, I think like Sports mentioned won't be in Tulsa anymore. The unfortunate thing for the
Yeah.
Tulsa game is that Arkansas is a basketball school. We're a football school. We care more about football than basketball. They care more about basketball than football. And so because of that, you ain't gonna get yeah, we're not gonna get the crowd like we would like. But the good thing is though, his team is balling. So Porter's been putting together. He was working in that portal, and he's brought in a team that I feel like. I mean, JV McCullum was a 3-star going into Siena, and he pulled him in, and he's playing at a high level. So, be honest, we got a lot of reasons to be excited about for the hoop. So I'm gonna be tuning into more games. I'm like y'all. I'm pretty bandwagon on the college basketball tip. I usually dive deep into basketball in February, right before conference championships, and then watch the conference games as I prepare to go to Vegas for March Madness and watch the actual games there and throw my bets in. So I'm gonna start getting myself a little bit more ingrained, so we kind of talk about it a little bit here on the show because a lot of people are now getting tuned in, and y'all need to go support them. Them boys need it. They need it. We need to feel Lloyd Noble. It's been a bit since I've been down there. We need to get down there and check that out. So, all right, Coop. Any last thoughts? We're gonna go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. Let y'all have the rest of y'all evening and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, here we go.
Got anything else?
I mean, hit that Twitter. If you're watching some of the stuff going on, the bowl practice stuff, it's rocking and rolling. You're starting to see guys get their work in. The new Big 12 basketball slate is the only thing that I'm going to miss about going to the SEC. Because it's a really, really cool because you got BYU is ranked in basketball somehow. Texas, it's Texas, but Kansas is always vying for the number 1 team. I think they're ranked number 2 right now. Iowa State, let's see what they do. Houston's the number 3 team. Cincinnati always has a good program. This is a really, really good opportunity to see some good basketball. And this is a great time. So continue to watch. I think more and more news is going to continue to. Yeah, I saw. This is a great time to. We don't have the stress of the playoffs going on this year. Next year, I expect that we will. So that's going to be fun. Because you want to be able to get in a spot to where we can have a number 1 seed and host a first round playoff game if that's possible. We've got some opportunity to be. We have a lot of reason to be excited. So continue to watch it. Check out stuff. I personally am not calling on transfer portal and any recruits right now because there's too many factors that happen in here. So when you see us when you see somebody get, hey, this is my final 5 and they got Oklahoma in it, it's just like it always is. They want to throw big names up there. They got a good idea where they're going. The portal's a little bit easier to pick because, this stuff happens pretty quick. We're right where we want to be. And we should have a smile on our face because we should be able to have a tournament run in our basketball team. Then we switch over right after that into the spring game, and it's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, it's going to be nonstop going. So we'll wrap this up. Thank y'all for pulling up as usual. Coop, for myself, we appreciate the love. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, join the family. Thank you to all the subscribers to the channel, supporting, helping funding, putting together some of these projects we're doing and all the research and digging we're doing. We appreciate y'all appreciating our time. Please tell a friend if you really want to support the show, hit that share button. Why? Because sharing is caring, and we're only going to grow this channel because of you, the people. And with that, we will chop it up with all of you in the next day or two. You'll see more videos coming from me down the line because I anticipate all the goods coming up. So with that, we'll chop it up soon. Peace.